Hey you guys, I wanted to make a relatively short video. Well, I always say it's going to be a short video and then, well, it doesn't always end up being that way. But I was thinking it might be useful for those of you that are interested in Shou Gong and maybe you don't have access to a regular class, or maybe it's difficult for you to attend a workshop or a retreat. You know, maybe there's that kind of barrier, and you're thinking, okay, well, yeah, this stuff sounds cool. I'd love to, have a better connection with my body. Maybe there's different issues that you might have gone through that you think, hey, this stuff could be helpful for, whether it's in terms of health, or maybe you practice some other kind of external martial art and you've always wanted to incorporate an internal art that could complement the other practice or the other system that you're learning. You think, hey, I'm not, maybe you don't live near where there's a workshop going on, or maybe it's difficult for you to travel. Because I think even though there are workshops pretty much all over the world, I know there's a big scene in Europe. Obviously I'm based in the UK, in the southwest of England, but there's the sort of headquarters is in the Netherlands, or at least that's where the head of Shou Gong Europe is based. But no, he's in the US right now. So Lyndon's in, I believe it's Ohio, as I'm filming this video, at the start of September. There's a big scene in Germany, but at the end of the day, maybe due to work or family commitments or whatever, it's not always possible for people to attend these different workshops. And the retreats, the retreats are amazing, but if there's something that's like a week long, it's understandable that not everyone can do that. Not everyone can attend, and it could be financial as well, right? Like obviously it's a commitment, and cost of living is is a consideration as well, right? Particularly, at least it is where I'm based, and we recognize that that's sometimes an issue for people, and we don't want those barriers to prevent people from learning. Shou Gong is a really powerful system, at least in my estimation, in my experience, and we want people to be able to learn it, right? We don't want these things to prevent people from engaging with it and from learning. So there's a bunch of different things you can do. The most obvious one, I think, is the online courses. So at the moment, I think there are 3 that have been released. Maybe we're up to 4 now. I think we're still on I think the 4th is still being prepared. But there's a series of different courses that are available from the Martial Man website. They host a lot of different courses and stuff on there. And that was my initial exposure to Shou Gong. I started learning the forms from videos with Master Yap. If you're not familiar with Master Yap, there's I think I talk about it a little bit in one of the other videos on what Shou Gong is. And anyway, there's plenty of stuff online, and you can see interviews with him and all that stuff. But Master Yap Bo-hyung is teaching these courses. So the online stuff I found to be very helpful. It was, you get a breakdown of the different movements in the form. You see different ways to check to make sure you're doing them correctly, as well as illustrations where they'll have an assistant with them, which shows kind of how a move might be used, or there might be examples of how you can test these different things with a friend or a training partner, and quite lengthy explanations of why we do the movements we do, how your breath should follow along with the movements or with the techniques. And yeah, they're pretty in depth. I mean, I was learning from it must have been, I probably had the first course for like over 2 years before I ever decided to step on to the next one. Simply because even though each different course has 6 forms, and the forms are short, right? That's something I've covered in other videos, but the Shou Gong forms are not long. That was pretty much the goal of doing this stuff was, we want there to be a system where you can learn forms in a speedy manner and that you can practice them. Even if you have a hectic life, many people are working multiple jobs, they have children, maybe there's other family members that are reliant on them, maybe like elderly family members or friends or something like that. It can be difficult to be learning lengthy, involved, choreographed, forms, right? And that was one of the reasons that Shou Gong was created. And so even though the forms themselves are short, I think that there's a lot of depth to them. And when you go through the online material, all this stuff is explained. And like I said, I was working for a long time with that initial course material, just the first part of the course. And again, there's different indications of, or there's different suggestions for how you might test these different movements. You'll have like all the kind of basic stuff, and then a load of like pointers for each movement, and then demonstrations from different angles. So yeah, I mean, I think even though learning online is no substitute for being with an instructor, it's like sometimes that's just the situation we find ourselves in. And I think it's better to be able to learn the forms and practice them at home. And then, maybe there'll be a different point sort of down the line where it is possible to connect with an instructor, or it is possible to go to a class or something where people are familiar with the material and can sort of I don't know, compare notes or whatever. Say, oh well, hey, maybe you want to do this differently or whatever. But yeah, I think the online material was a really good way to start for me, and it also made it easier when I did attend a workshop. My first workshop, again, there's a video about it where I blah 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 for ages and talk about how great it was and how strange at times it was. But yeah, I mean, I found that because I already had that familiarity with the forms, I got a lot more out of it, I think, than I would have done had I gone without already having some exposure to the forms and having already sort of practiced them, right? So there's multiple different reasons I think the online learning stuff that we have is beneficial and is sort of worth the time investing time into. And at the moment there is that's pretty much the only way to get sort of like a course, right, online. Although I know I don't know when it'll be launched exactly, but there is another site that there's different Shou Gong stuff being uploaded to, so there will be some kind of alternative for people to learn from, which I gather is going to be a subscription model. Again, I don't know the details currently because it's all still, you know, um, yeah, there's work going on behind the scenes. So I don't know when exactly that will be launched, but yeah, whenever it is, of course, I'll make a post about it. So you can watch for any kind of news stuff. There's a news section of the West Country and Shou Gong website. I always link that in the description anyway, so you can always check out that site. And it's essentially a blog, but I'll definitely make a post about it when that website goes live, and that'll just be a different way to approach it. From what I've seen so far, there's not the same level of detail as there is in the martial line courses, but again, it might be an option that's better for people. You know, maybe it'll be more affordable. I know sometimes it's easier for people to do something on a subscription model instead of paying up front for a big sort of library of video files, right? So again, there will be more options coming soon, but yeah, that's still a work in progress right now. And also, I should say, you can book Zoom sessions. I actually at the moment I've not done any. I've not taught anyone via Zoom, but I know it's something that the other instructors offer, and it's something I'm willing to do as well. I'm open to it, but yeah, at the moment that hasn't come up. But it is something that, let's say you've learned some of the stuff online, but you're not sure about certain movements, or I don't know, maybe you just want someone else to watch you go through your forms and critique them. Yeah, you can book Zoom sessions with, I think most instructors do offer that, right? So I mean, Brandon's coming to mind straight away, and he's a very high level instructor. I'm not sure whether Lyndon has much time for that, but again, perhaps he's open to it as well. And yeah, when you go to the main yanshogong.org site, it's a whole list of instructors. And obviously the great thing about Zoom is you don't need to be in close proximity to take advantage of that. So it's another way to, if you're learning from home and you're not sure about things, you can always reach out to us and say, hey, look, this is what I've been doing, and I don't know about my elbow placement here, or I don't know, I'm not sure where I should be. You know, should the weight be on my toes in this position, or my heels, or yada yada, right? So yeah, there's a lot of different things that can be cleared up when you speak with an instructor. Like I said, it doesn't always have to be at a workshop, doesn't always have to be a face-to-face, in-person session. It can be done via Zoom. And I suppose the last thing I'll mention is that it really helps if you can find someone else that also wants to learn. Obviously, it's it's easier, or maybe even necessary, to have someone who can do the testing with you. The testing, like how to check the movements, that's within the online courses. But if you don't have someone to do the testing with you, then yeah, you're kind of out of luck. You know, sad to say. There are different things you can do when you're practicing alone that can test different positions or movements, like using a wall or some other kind of structure. Though again, I won't get into it in this video. Though if people are interested, I can demonstrate that another time. But it's just yeah, having someone with you that can go through these movements, that can watch what you're doing and kind of say, well, hey, you know, in the video Master Yap says this, but it looks like you're doing this. That's pretty invaluable. If you've got someone that's like also interested in Shou Gong and they want to do some training with you, it should be a no-brainer. It's much more enjoyable, and yeah, I think the progress you'll find that you have more progress much more quickly if you have someone that you can work with. And I'm trying to think. There was something else I was going to say then, but it's drifting away from me. But yeah, it's I think as well, like in terms of approaching this stuff, there are, like I said, lots of different sort of things you can do which can make it accessible. I'll always stress that being at a workshop, being with other people, you get the feel of community, and you get the immediate feedback from your instructors. But again, some people just can't do it. And even something as simple as you're practicing your forms at home, you've got them from the online course, or maybe you've done a session where one of the instructors has taught you a form. Even just something like filming yourself going through the form so you can go back and check it after, especially from different angles, that can be really, really valuable, because we don't always realize what we're doing. There might be something we're doing wrong. Even I was teaching a one-on-one session yesterday, and my student said, "Hey, your elbow looks to be a little bit further out than it should be. Look left, look right." And it's like, yeah, he was right. So I mean, even for us instructors, there are things that we might miss but someone else watching, they notice it, So again, having that feedback is really, really good. But if you film yourself, you can usually figure it out. Anyway, I don't want to make this video massively long. I just wanted to say, look, Shou Gong is something that should be accessible for everyone, and we do try our best to make it accessible for everyone. If you have any questions, you can always leave comments on the YouTube channel, or you can email me at westcountry.yanshouGong.co.uk. There's a contact form there. Or you can reach out to other instructors via the yanshougong.org site, like maybe you're based somewhere else in the world. So yeah, we try and make ourselves available to you guys, and hopefully if there's something that you need help with, that it's something that we can assist with, right? But yeah, I think we should probably wrap it there. I wish you guys much love. I hope you're having a great day, or you enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in the world. And remember, Gongas never say die.